Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today. Welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live streams, real world events, share and inspire, and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We beam out nearly every day, and with your help, have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on demand tattoo and art shows that have all been receiving rave reviews. You're currently watching the Sunday afternoon drawing group, or as I like to call it, the skill building Sunday drawing group, with me, Jason Leeser, which is about going through and discussing art and different ways that you can hone your skills as an artist and a tattooer. If this is working for you, please make a comment. Let me know. This way, I'm not just kind of talking and no one else can really hear me. Um, yeah. And if you like these kinds of shows, please, by all means, feel free to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Make sure that you can stay up to date with all the latest and greatest program information. Make sure that you don't miss any other streams. You can find us on all of the app stores, the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Or maybe you're beaming in from YouTube or Facebook. Or maybe you're catching the replays on the Roku channel, reinventingthetattoo.com/Roku, or you can just search for Reinventing the Tattoo. Or maybe you're listening to the podcast on Apple or Spotify. Either way, you can always get the latest updates and the latest information at reinventingthetattoo.com. We always have a number of weekly staple shows that we encourage everyone to tune into, starting on Sundays at 1 p.m. with me, Jason Leeser, followed directly on Mondays at 11 a.m. by the Tattoo Weekly Show, hosted by Lauren Gregory, Gabe Ripley, and Jake Meeks. That's followed on Monday at 9 p.m. with the subscribers exclusive drawing group with Guy Aitchison himself, which is only available to people that subscribe to the Reinventing the Tattoo canon. That's followed on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. with a very good friend of mine, an extremely talented artist, Ricardo Sertivant, where we go through and we discuss different types of philosophies of life, being an artist, different types of art techniques. He goes through and does a lot of charcoal seminars and a lot of mixed media seminars. That's followed on Wednesdays at noon with the Tattoo Now show hosted by Gabe Ripley, where we discuss a lot more of the business aspect behind tattooing. And that's followed on Thursdays at 6 with the Tattoo Collecting podcast hosted by Fawn Baker and Jordan Ruckus. We have a number of real world events coming up starting in May 20th through 22nd. We will be in Hell City, Columbus, Ohio, which is going to be an absolutely incredible show. We have the Ink Mania tattoo convention coming up June 10th through 12th. And the weekend before that, the weekend of June 3rd through 5th, I personally will be up in Calgary at the Deadly Tattoo Convention, which has an incredible lineup of artists. At Ink Mania, June 10th through 12th, you can find Phil Holt, Stefano, Guy will be beaming in, Franklin Ochoa will be there. We'll be doing some live interviews and some seminars. It's going to be a great time. July 29th through 31st, we have the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational in Akron, Ohio with Tony Urbanek, master machine builder and all-around super awesome dude. In August, we will be at Hell City, Phoenix, Arizona. And it looks like October 20th, 21st through 23rd, we will be at the Richmond Tattoo Convention. We'd like to go through and take a second to go and thank some of our sponsors and the people that make this show happen, starting with Raw Pigments, an ink company that's tapping into the source, rawpigments.co. I personally have started to incorporate them into my lineup of pigments, and I have not had any better results. They are incredible. They are vibrant. They're light, fast, so they're not going to fade quite as quickly as some other pigment brands. They are 100% vegan friendly, heavy metal free, and acrylic free. Yeah. So if you're really concerned about what you're putting into your client's skin, take a look at Raw Pigments. Next, we have worldtattooevents.com. The largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. And they've been constantly updating everything because, as we know, COVID is still a thing. Events are still getting rescheduled. Conventions are still getting postponed. Travel restrictions are slowly getting lifted. So keep up with the latest event schedules at worldtattooevents.com. Dermalize Pro, Delize Pro in the US, also known as Dermalize in the rest of the world. Protect your art. If you're still using saran wrap or cling wrap to wrap your tattoos after you're done with them, probably time to kick it up a notch. Probably time to upgrade to the latest and greatest. This stuff was designed by wound care specialists and is specifically designed to heal tattoos. Next, we have Tattoo Now, technology for tattooers, the leading edge in SEO and professional development for tattooers of all levels. They're now accepting new clients. So if you're really trying to expand your reach and really trying to attract those clients that you want to tattoo, this is the way to do it. Go take a look at tattoonow.com. And last but not least, we have the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo, Guy Aitchison. You can find him at guyaitchison.com. Without him, none of this would be going on. So Guy, personally, from the bottom of my heart, I can't thank you enough. You've helped me, advance my art career more than you could ever realize. And it's all because of the book that you put out, a whole bunch of years ago. So thank you very much, Guy. You can find him at guyaitchison.com, where you can pick up a copy of his Biomech Encyclopedia, his DVDs. He's got some custom tattoo coil machines that are for sale. Only a couple are left. And a whole bunch of original paintings and prints for sale as well. So thank you, Guy, for everything that you have done. Would also like to go through and take a second to thank two of our affiliates, the Fireside Tattoo Network with Jake Meeks and the Apprenticeship Diaries with Amy Nichols. If you're already a tattoo artist, but you're looking for maybe some more information on how some of the bigger people out there are doing what they're doing, or maybe just some career advice, take a look at the Fireside Tattoo Network. There are countless videos on there. You could watch it for days on end, never see the same video twice. There's great content, great information, all geared around tattooers, tattooing, and the craft of tattoo. If you're just looking to get into tattooing, into a tattoo apprenticeship, take a look at the Apprenticeship Diaries with Amy Nichols. That's like one of your first stops to, getting onto the road of becoming, a well-respected tattoo artist with tons of longevity and knowledge behind you. So Amy and Jake, thank you very much for all that you have done for the community and the industry as a whole. As always, we like to encourage everyone to post positive reviews. Make sure that you leave those likes and make sure that you subscribe. We're always coming out with new stuff to talk about and always coming up with new shows, and there's always special events. For example, last November, I got to interview Chris Dunn from Deadly Tattoos, very big inspiration of mine. And I'm actually going up to get tattooed by him in June. So definitely an interview worth taking a look at. Help us get the word out. Start tagging some friends that like tattoos or are tattoo artists. We'd love to have them on too. We're always looking for new people to join us on these shows. So please, by all means, reach out and tag a couple of people. And without further ado, welcome to the show. I know that I did have someone just trying to get in. Let me just send them a text and remind them. But otherwise, welcome. I'm going to be working on another watercolor painting today. So, it's technically liquid acrylic, but same thing, right? As I've mentioned plenty of times in the past, I always highly recommend working in lots of different mediums, because as you'll notice throughout your career, different mediums will help you to hone different skills. For example, if you're really trying to focus more on color blending or layering or anything like that, definitely start taking a look at oils. With oils, you can get infinite glazes, infinite levels of color blending without damaging the surface that you're painting on. Watercolors, liquid acrylic, markers, stuff like that. you kind of have to be conscious of how much, you're working that paper or that surface that you're painting on, because sometimes that paper is a bit more fragile than you think. However, I personally prefer liquid acrylics and watercolor because I find that it lends itself more to the actual tattoo process, as opposed to, working with something like oils where you can always paint over it. You can't exactly do that in tattooing. With watercolors, which are translucent and transparent, you're going to work with those colors just like you would work with tattoo pigment in the skin. For example, if you have a darker color or black shading down before you layer your color in, well, you're going to see all of that coming through the color that you're putting down on the paper. So it allows you to work in a very similar fashion to actually executing a tattoo. Obviously, it's a very different medium. Yes, that's a fact. We know this. But it does have a lot of similarities to doing tattoos. So that's why I prefer to work in it. Yeah, I've got the comment screens up. So if anyone wants to drop a comment, please, by all means, let me know. Tattoo Now says, hello all. Hello, Gabe. Looks like we've got I'm probably going to butcher this name, and I'm sorry for that, but you're watching on Facebook. Oana Zirbo, how's it going? Just wanted to say hi. I thought Ricardo was going to be jumping in today. I know he was trying to get in earlier while I was doing the intro. So Ricardo, if you are watching, I'm sorry, bud, but I was kind of doing the intro. So I couldn't really let you in. But yeah, I do have notifications on. So if anyone else does try to jump in, by all means, go for it. You can find the link to join the Zoom in the Reinventing the Tattoo calendar for any of you artists out there that may want to join in today. Maybe you've got some advice to share. Maybe you want to share something that you're working on. Please join in. Join us. We're always looking for new perspectives, opinions, and comments. We're always looking to get new artists in here to help engage with us. So please, if you know someone, by all means. Justin just made a comment on the YouTube. Aloha from Hawaii. Aloha yourself. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, so I'm going to start painting. Hopefully we get a couple other people that join us here today. Let's see. There we go. Yay! Painting a picture, painting a picture. Ricardo, welcome. Welcome on the YouTube, man. Jump in the Zoom. Just saw your comment on YouTube, bud. Okay, so I'm all set up here. I've got like a little palette with all my colors poured that I'm going to be using today. Got a little mixing tray if I need that. A little bit of water. And I always like painting with two brushes at one time, one with water, one with paint. I'm using a number of different brushes today. Some of these are kind of on the more inexpensive side. Waiting on breakfast. Excellent, Ricardo. Kyle Olson, welcome. So Oana Zirbo just made a comment on the Facebook. And Mickey LaCroix said, hi, what's up? Oana, so to answer Oana's question is, I want to get a tattoo on my forearm and I would like to know if it hurts. It is my first tattoo. Yes, getting tattooed does hurt. Getting tattooed does hurt. There's no avoiding that. There's no getting around that. It's something that you kind of have to earn the right to wear the tattoo. So it's something that you kind of have to experience. There's a lot of pre-numb stuff out there now, but I personally don't like it when my clients show up with that, especially if I don't advise them to. If we're working on a huge area, maybe like an entire upper torso piece where you're getting your whole stomach done, you're getting your chest done, you're getting a lot of stuff done. Okay, I can kind of see and understand the need for that. But otherwise, I try to advise my clients not to use that because it makes your skin really difficult to work with and can actually affect the healing process in a not very pleasant way, to put it politely. So yes, it will hurt. There's no avoiding that. But if you want to get tattooed, that's kind of what you have to go through. Don't really know how else to put that. Cool. So I'm going to get started here. All right. So as you can tell, just looking at the painting as it is now, I started layering in some of my blacks and my gray washes last night, just blocking in some of the underlying values where I want some of my highlights and shadows to be. And what this is going to do is automatically tone down and mute down a lot of the colors that I'm going to be putting into this by default, because once again, a lot of what you're going to see is going to allow these underlying gray tones to come forward. So I'm going to start out with, believe it or not, some purple. And one thing I always try to advise people to do is always try to wet the area you're going to be painting first. Now, obviously, this is a step that's not usually done when you're tattooing, but for watercolors and liquid acrylics, it really helps. It helps the paint spread, it helps it flow, helps you get those nice soft gradients in there. And it helps to dilute it just enough. Now I'm only putting in a little bit of purple just because I want to use that as an underlying undertone to cool down a couple of specific areas. For anyone out there that's curious, not that I think a whole lot of you are, but maybe you are, I'm using Dr. P.H. Martin's Hydrus for a lot of the paint that I use. I find that it's got the right level of light fastness and viscosity that I really, really like. Golden also makes some very nice liquid acrylics and fluid acrylics. I'm a big fan of Doc Martens. It's what I've been using for a while and I like it a lot. So highly recommend you pick up some of those. Yeah, and as you can see, as this dries, it's just going to create a very nice, cool, purplish, grayish tone. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. It's just enough to give it the hint so that when I lay the red over top of it, it's definitely going to cool down certain areas. Now, you might have noticed if you guys tuned in the last time that I was working on a watercolor painting that which I finished, by the way, earlier in the week. But if you guys noticed, I had a lot of like different veins and stuff like that all over the place in the actual human heart. And I decided to forego that during this step to draw those in because I'm probably just going to end up drawing those in with paint later on. And the reason why is because I use pretty opaque paint to do that kind of fine line stuff. So I'll go back through after all of the bigger areas are done, and I'll just add in like a hint of a vein here, a hint of one there, just to kind of give it a little bit of an accent, and just to to add in those final little details. But for the bulk of it, I really want to focus on large areas of color, large gradients, and just trying to block in some of those basic tones. You know, just like in tattooing, when you go through and you do another layer after the fact, to really tweak some of those details, really does a treat. Now I'm going to go through, I'm going to take a little bit more purple. I'm just going to add a dash of that here. Leaving a little bit of a lighter skin break or paper break in this case to the bottom portion. So I can really help create separation between this, this part of the heart from the part below it coming out from the back where you see that black. It's going to help really separate out those tones, even though they're going to be done in a different color. I still want to maintain that bit of separation there. Just because I've got, you know, something that's going to end up being a bit more mid-tone, and I want to separate that out from the shadow and not really, it just creates that little bit of extra oomph to it. And maybe we'll throw a dash of purple back over on this side. That's going to create that rounded effect. It's going to give it that nice cooler shadow tone. And I just want that to be a hair cooler, because I'm actually going to be going through with some darker reds and some lighter reds later on. Also, if anyone is ever interested in purchasing a painting, let me know. By all means, I'll be happy to. I actually have been thinking about organizing an art sale so that I can go through and actually clear off some of my stuff. There's Ricardo.
What's up?
What's up, buddy? How's breakfast?
It's pretty good. I just picked some up. Can you see me?
Yes.
They're rocking. My breakfast just slid to the floorboard.
Oh, dude.
It's okay. It's just mostly like an egg omelet and stuff like that, so it's no big deal.
I was gonna say, man, if that was pancakes or French toast.
You know what? It's so weird. I think there's a lot more people than I think that I'm the only one that does this, but like there's a lot of people that do this. I just put it in a bowl, dude. Most of that stuff I just put in a bowl and I just like mash it all up and just like devour it. It's almost like oatmeal by the time I'm ready to eat it. You know what I mean?
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it's gonna taste the same, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like, right?
I mean, it tastes the same. Exactly. Like, you know, the thing that always tripped me out too is remember in school when you had the lunch trays and you had those little dividers. Like, why are they trying to keep all the flavors separate, dude? Like all those differences in food. Is that some kind of analogy for people?
Yeah, for those foodie purists out there, because there are certain people out there that do believe in the purity of flavor.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, I don't understand that because I mean, whatever. I like those exotic mixed flavors.
Plus, I think being like being in the tattoo industry, you know, at first in the real high volume street shops, it's like you get your food done as fast as you can, man.
Yep.
And there's no way fans or buts about it.
Without question,
But
man. When you're working in a street shop, dude, you shouldn't have time to actually sit down and eat,
right,
right?
it's one of
There
those
are
unfortunate
certain
side effects.
places that, unfortunately they're not that busy because of, for one reason or another. But that's the way it should be. You shouldn't have time to even breathe when you're there.
Excuse me. Speaking of breathing,
Bless you.
there was a explosion
I
of
was
breath.
just gonna say, man, perfect timing.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm headed to the old shop right now. It's gonna be empty in there here pretty soon. Today's the last day that I get to mess with it, and I'll be throwing away some stuff and moving some books out. Yeah, moving some books out of the car and stuff. But I figured I'd jump on here and hang out for a little bit before I get
Right
all
on,
that
man.
started.
Yeah, today's session is going to be fairly quick.
Cool.
I'm not going to be doing like one of those marathon, like 4-hour sessions like I do sometimes.
Yeah.
I have quite a bit of things I need to get done for today, including I need to scan and frame the last painting I worked on, which I just finished up earlier in the week. And then I was kind of sitting back for a day or two, racking my brain, thinking about what it is I'm going to do for this one, because I've got 2 matching frames.
Okay.
They're the old antique, like Florentine die cast metal frames
Nice.
that are all like Baroque with like the scroll work on the sides and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's a killer, man. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, they're great frames. I got them. I was cleaning out one of my parents' storage units and came across them, and I'm like, "Can I have these?" They're like, "Yeah, go for it." We didn't even know that they were in there.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll grab the painting and show you kind of how it's gonna fit.
Okay. I'm gonna turn my camera off for a second, okay? And I'll take a look at what you got going on.
So this is the way the last one turned out, and I'm trying to figure out a way to get it to sit right inside this frame. It's a very old frame, and I have no idea when it's from, but it's got like the old bubble glass.
Yeah. Those are fun, man. I know exactly.
So this is what the frame looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the way that this painting is kind of gonna sit inside it. If all
That's
goes
where
well,
you got her situated right there.
right? But this is the kind of, I might actually spray paint the frame, but it is that nice die cast metal. Some of them are like stamped with like Italy or Florence or whatever. This one isn't stamped, but it does have that bubble glass, which is, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's almost got like, it almost looks like a big contact lens.
Yeah. It's got a concave to or a convex to it, yes.
Right. So it kind of pushes out from the frame a bit. So it's been interesting because you can't buy just a piece of oval shaped convex glass anymore. That's rarely made.
Right.
So it's like being very careful with that, but then figuring out how to get everything centered. And I've got the last painting pretty much trimmed down.
Nice.
Yeah, it turned out pretty nice.
It looks real good, man. Looks real sharp there. And I like your use of anatomy too there, brother.
Yeah, I've been trying to work on anatomy a bit more. So I figured I really like the hand and like the gold leafing in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, well, what if I did a hand holding something else? And then I couldn't figure out what else I would have a hand holding. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just stick with the human heart as a theme, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because with 2 matching frames, you kind of want them to at least have some kind of a similar subject matter.
Right.
That way everything looks like it's got continuity to it. And I figure these shapes over here, these like little black and gray leaf shapes are going to kind of end up being similar to this, except these are done with like gray wash, and I'm going to do these in a gold leaf.
Yeah.
To kind of help offset that with a gray wash background. So I think that's going to help pop those forward a bit more. and help the background recede a little bit further
Yeah, dude.
instead of
that's
making
very
the
cool.
background a bit more bright and vibrant. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
I think that's
I
going to
do.
help.
Yeah, man, that'd be killer. It's
I
gonna
might
be a
even
nice
throw
combo.
some silver leaf in there in the background in like this moon shape in the background,
Yeah,
you know, just to make it look even more fancy.
yeah.
But we'll see how things go. I got to finish the painting first before I decide on that.
Well, I gotta tell you, I'm happy to see that you're staying pretty steadily busy with paintings. I noticed over the past couple of weeks, I've seen you working on different paintings, so that's awesome.
Yeah, well, you know, it ends up being one of those situations where I made myself a New Year's resolution to work a lot more analog and to
Yeah,
go through and, you know, really start cranking out some art
yeah,
and, you know, to learn more about anatomy. So it's like, okay, well, if that's my New Year's resolution, half the year is already gone,
yeah. Isn't that crazy?
you know? So it's like, all right, well, if I'm really going to do this, I really need to get on it. I
Yeah.
need to do it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Like, this was my resolution. And every single year that I have ever made a New Year's resolution,
Uh-huh.
I have forced myself to stick to it.
Yeah. It's killer, man.
Oh, it is
That's,
sometimes, man. And it's really tricky because most people out there don't stick to their New Year's resolutions.
no, definitely not. That's one of the problems with the New Year's resolutions is that people make these big, grandiose assumptions or ideas, or you know, and it's awesome. It's a positive thing, dude. But like, come on, man, you got to be realistic, and you have to hold your ground, like you're talking about right now. You know what I mean? Like, I get it because I've been guilty of that myself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the hardest New Year's resolutions I ever made to myself, I made this a long time ago. And I stuck with it. And I said, I'm going to go through the entire year. And, you know, I'm not going to tell anyone anything that isn't 100% true.
Yeah.
I'm not going to exaggerate. I'm not going to make promises I can't keep. I'm not going to, you know, basically lie to people. I'm going to go through and be 100% honest with myself and with other people this year. And it was one of the most difficult things I ever did.
Yeah. Yes, I know exactly what you mean, man. It's, you know, if you can be honest with yourself and honest about a scenario, that makes everything so much easier on everybody else. So don't say you're going to go do something if you have full intention of, oh, I'll just wait to the last minute and then blow it all off.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the unforeseen circumstances are one thing, but if you're intentionally putting that energy out there, that's an entirely different thing altogether.
Absolutely.
And you're not growing at all, dude. Not doing anything good for yourself. So yes,
and I found a lot of people, I would, you know, anytime someone would ask me a question where I knew that they wouldn't like the answer, instead of, you know, just blurting out like an answer that would probably upset them, I always used to ask them, are you sure you want to ask me that question? Because I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
But I can tell you right now, do not ask me a question that you really don't want to know the answer to. You might think you want to know the answer, but there's a pretty good chance that you don't want to know the answer.
Yeah.
You want to hear what you want to hear and not what the actual truth is. So ask yourself, is this something I really want to know about?
Mm-hmm.
And of course they would say, yes, you know, I wouldn't have asked you otherwise. And it's like, okay, well, here's the answer you didn't want to hear.
Do you want the truth or do you want to lie?
Exactly. Well, do you want the truth or do you want me to tell you what you want to hear?
A lie.
Which is a lie. 90% of the time, yes. But
the only reason I say the lie
because
it's truth, like they ask you a question.
Yeah, if people do want the truth, then you have to be willing to accept it no matter what that truth is.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think a lot of people have a very, very rough time with.
Oh yeah, big time. He's in the same place, man.
Yep. And I'm not trying to stay stagnant. I'm trying to progress, advance, evolve. I'm trying to become human 2.0.
Don't
Without
dissolve,
Skynet.
evolve.
Without Skynet.
Without the Skynet. Good luck, buddy. I'm here with you. I'm rooting
Oh,
for
I
you.
know you are. I know you are. Birds of a feather, man. Birds of a feather.
Birds of the feather, not the feather.
Feather, yes. Feathers are not usually recommended. Feathers are fine,
Yeah.
but feathers, I don't even know what a feather is. I don't know why I said that.
It's like a plethora, but just feather.
Ah, fair enough.
Well, hey,
Good
Jason, I'm
answer.
gonna get going, buddy.
Go for it, bud.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. Good luck with that painting. Look forward to seeing the progress.
Absolutely, man. You take care. Have a great day.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Cool. That was fun. Yeah, as always, if anyone has any questions about anything, by all means, please feel free to ask. I'm pretty much, open to any kind of a question you can imagine. Whether it's questions on technique in tattooing or art tips and tricks, Procreate stuff, digital questions. I've got a pretty wide knowledge base. So by all means, feel free to ask away. Just know that if you ask me a question, expect an honest answer. It might not be the answer you're looking for, but it'll be an honest answer. Yeah, otherwise I'm going to sit here and I'm going to keep painting and yeah. I'm trying to help you guys get more out of this, so by all means, ask away. Yeah, I think that's one of the beautiful things about platforms such as this, where we get a lot of people that join in from a lot of places all over the world. Everyone's got a different perspective about things, and that I think is one of the most valuable things in the world, because until you start examining your own perspective on things coming from your own background, and starting to share that and see how other people's perspectives differ. Not that other perspectives are good or bad. Other opinions and perspectives are just that. They're opinions and perspectives. We all see the world through a different pair of rose-colored glasses. Because of that, we're going to have a different perspective on different things. There's no getting around it. For example, perfect example. For many, many years, it was it was considered a very West Coast kind of thing to go through and use paper towels instead of rubber grommets on a coil machine. Or to run a coil machine without an O-ring underneath the front spring. That was considered a very West Coast style of running a machine. Not that that's better or worse than running it with an O-ring or without an O-ring, or using a rubber grommet or a piece of RC car fuel line or whatever. It's not that it's better or worse, it's just different. But that comes down to a basic philosophy of life. And in life, things are not inherently good or bad. We ascribe, well, no, there are a few things out there in life. Let me retract that. There are some things out there in life that are inherently bad. And there are some things out there that are inherently good if done for the right reasons. However, everything else is up to interpretation. Cultural ideas can really define a lot of what we see in our system of values. There's no getting around that. When we're raised from a very young age to see things, as being negative or being bad, then they are by default bad or negative. But if you go to a different culture, right, where maybe people aren't raised to see that same thing as bad, maybe they're raised to see it as just something different. Well, that's what it is in that culture. It's not bad, it's just different. It's a different way of doing things. But that takes the ability to turn around and accept different ways of life. And that's something that, you know, some people out there in the world just cannot do it. They cannot accept that their way of life is not the standard. And it's really, really sad when that happens. You know, it comes down to the old debate, coil machines or rotaries, right? You know, well, you know, coil machines are always better than rotaries. Well, I respect your opinion on that, but I don't agree with it. You know, oh, well, rotaries are always better than coils. Once again, I respect your opinion, but I don't agree with it. You know, I think each one has its own place, and I think they each serve their own purpose. I use rotaries for everything. Oh, well, you know, pen style machines are, you know, crap and blah, blah, blah. Well, not necessarily. You know, I think there are some out there that, you know, maybe whoever is saying that they're junk, maybe they just don't know how to use them effectively. Maybe they do know how to use them effectively. They just, for some reason, couldn't get used to them. Well, maybe that's the issue. Maybe take a step back. Maybe, you know, instead of going back to your backup machine all the time, because, well, I tried it for one line on this tattoo, but I just didn't like it. Well, okay, don't like it. But until you've used a specific machine for 1,000 hours, how can you really tell? You haven't even given it the chance to get used to it. So how are you going to sit back and say that you don't like something, right? Because your initial default is to turn around and go straight to your backup machine because that's what you're used to, because you've probably used it 12,000 times. And I can almost guarantee you, if you're going back to your backup machine all the time, it's probably because you've already put in over 10,000 hours with it, right? And if you haven't even put in 1,000 hours with one machine, no, you're not going to like it initially. It's going to be different. It's going to be foreign. Maybe you're going to struggle a little bit more, and that's okay. That is totally acceptable, because that comes with change. That comes with everything that is different. It takes time, as we're humans. It takes time for us to adjust to different things. This is a fact. But being human beings, we can adapt. Once again, this is fact. Human beings have adapted to colder climates. We've adapted to warmer climates. We've adapted to windy climates. We have adapted to, you know, every climate you can think of, to very, very dry climates or very, very wet climates. We have adapted. We are human. We can adapt. That is one of the major things that separate us from a lot of the other animals in the animal kingdom. So, granted, that's my 2 cents. That's my opinion. Adaptation is a given. That is a constant. Change is a given. That is a constant. You know, as long as we can accept that everything is bound to change eventually, then life is good. I did get notified earlier today, by the way, everyone, that we will be having a guest artist pop on here starting in the next couple of weeks. A guest artist and very good friend of mine, Seth Mushrush. In fact, I'm trying to work out some times to go through and do a live stream portrait seminar, live tattooing Q&A with him. So by all means, please feel free to get some questions together. Feel free to get some inquiries, you know, different ways of viewing portraits and portraiture, different ways of viewing tattoos from an alternate perspective. Start getting some questions together so that we can ask the questions that you want to know about. You know, this community is founded on the fact that we have knowledge and we're willing to share it. We just need to know what you want us to share, because without knowing that, we really don't know what to share. We really don't know what to talk about. You know, we can go through and guess and say, well, this is what we're going to talk about this week. But if you guys have questions, if you have specific questions you want to know about, tell us. That's why we are here. We are here to help you. And we are here to help expand your knowledge base. So let us do that for you. Shoot us a DM, make a couple of comments on YouTube videos or Facebook videos. You know, let us know what it is you want to know. You know, and I've been an advocate of this for a very long time. If I don't know the answer to the question that you have, I will put in the effort and I will find someone that does have the answer to your question, and I will make sure that you get that answer. You know, whether it's machine voltage for lining, which is always a big question posed by a lot of people, or like, I don't know, what's the best mag to use for color packing? It's a good question, right? I think, you know, if I were to answer that question personally, I'd say it all kind of depends on the size of the tattoo you're doing. But once again, that's my own personal opinion. You know, there's no real definitive answer because, you know, different artists work with different materials that work in different styles with different techniques. You have to factor that in. You know, if I'm going to go through and I'm going to pack, you know, solid fields, large fields of color into something that's got a very traditional kind of feel to it, I think I'm going to use a different type of mag than if I were to go through and do a lot of very fine color blending like Nick Baxter or Nico Hurtado. There's going to be a lot of differences in the materials I use. You know, so where with one, I might go with a number 12 medium taper, you know, like 7 or a 9 mag. For the other, I might go with something more like a number 8 bug pin, you know, 11 mag, you know, with a curve on it to create those really, really soft edges and really make sure that I can layer and layer and layer that color in to create those nice gradients and those nice color blends. You know, but it all kind of depends on the effect that you're trying to get. You know, same thing here, just like with painting. You know, maybe I'm going to use a large round brush. Maybe I'm going to use a small flat brush. To me, they both accomplish the same job. And this is what I grabbed first because I like to be able to get into these little nooks and crannies a little bit easier than if I was using a flat brush. Friends of mine like Ricardo will take a medium or a small flat brush and they'll use the corner to get into those tiny little areas. And it's totally fine. It's just a different way of doing the same thing. You know, but feel free to compile a list of questions. We will be happy to answer all of your questions at any time. This painting that I'm working on, by the way, for any of you that might be curious, is not for sale. This painting is going to be a gift to a very, very special friend of mine who recently opened up a small little office place in Wisconsin. She doesn't quite know it yet, but this is going to be mailed to her once both of them are done. And part of the reason why is because I'm running out of wall space to hang stuff up on because I paint too much and draw too much and don't really have too many places to put things. So, you know, it ends up becoming a situation that it's like, okay, well, what do you do with all of your older artwork? You know, do you keep it hanging up? Sometimes for progression's sake. You know, if it's something that you're really emotionally attached to, keep it. If it's something you're not really emotionally attached to, give it away to a friend. You know, or find a new studio that opened up and have your custom artwork hanging up in that studio. A friend of mine named Tim Pagburn just opened up a second studio not too far away from me. And one of the first things I asked him was, "Hey, man, need any artwork to put on your walls?" Because not only is he a friend of mine, but by getting my name out there and having my custom artwork, original artwork up on his walls, that's going to help me out. And it's going to help build that kind of a friendship, you know? And in this industry of tattoo artists, trust me when I say the more friends you make, the better off you are. You know, be kind to everyone, obviously, but try to go through and forge those friendships that, because you don't know where those are going to take you. You know, you might become friends with someone and then find out later on that they're friends with someone else that you really admire. And it's like, well, hey, let's get together. Let's do a paint night and an art night because I want to ask them questions. You know, how do you do what you do? Oh, cool. That's cool. That's a different way of doing it than I thought of. You know, but without creating that really nice network of other artist friends, it's going to be a struggle. And you might sit back and see some of these amazing tattoos that are being done nowadays and be like, man, how did they do that? How did they do that? But if you have access to that artist or you have a friend that has access to that artist, they can just call the dude and be like, yo, how'd you do that? And boom, there's your answer. It's that easy sometimes. Sometimes it's not that easy, but you know, it's the good with the bad. You know, but definitely having artistic friends and other tattooer friends is always a godsend. Especially because being artists, and it doesn't matter what kind of art you do, whether it's poetry, visual arts, dance, music, anything of that nature, without a network of other artists around you, you're going to lose inspiration. You're going to lose momentum. It is bound to happen. And I know because I've been there. And I did a lot of self-isolation for a very long time where I just kind of cut myself off from other artists. And did not do me any good. It didn't. I ended up getting, you know, really uninspired after a while, and things just ended up going south from there. You know, but when I started to really reach out and become friends with other artists, it was like my entire life turned around. You know, next thing you know, I'm meeting awesome artists from all over the country, all over the globe. You know, I'm getting out there, I'm building this network of people, and I'm learning more than I ever have before. By learning more, my tattoos have been getting better. My artwork's been getting better. You know, I'm getting to travel to all of these awesome places and meet all of my idols. Like it's an incredible, incredible, incredible time. And it all comes from creating that network. And that's part of what else we do here. We create that network of artists that help share and inspire each other. No artist left behind and all that stuff. You know, unless they want to be left behind. In that case, it's like, okay, fine, you stay there. We're going to go this way. You know, and it doesn't really matter what kind of art. Like I said, any art. And if you're feeling uninspired, say you're a classic oil painter, but you've been really uninspired lately and you really don't know what direction to take your stuff, pick up a different medium. It's that easy. Pick up a different medium. Instead of working in oils, go start taking photography classes. Start taking your own reference photography. You know, it can really make an absolute world of difference in what you do. It'll help get you over uninspirational humps. It will help you get over stagnancy, which is something being an artist we always run into. But as a very wise person once said, every time you hit a new level, that new level is only limited by a glass ceiling. That glass ceiling might be a bit tricky to punch through, but you can punch through it, right? It will allow you to elevate your work to another level, but it takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of grinding away. And if you're not grinding or you're feeling uninspired and you don't want to do it, that's when you need to grind even harder. Because by grinding harder and really bringing yourself to another level, you're going to start to notice that, oh, well, maybe I'm not quite so uninspired anymore. Always keep the grind going, always. That's how we advance as artists. You can get the latest and greatest machine. You can get the latest and greatest pigments. You can get the latest and greatest needles. You can get the latest and best of everything out there. But if you're not going to push yourself to be a better artist and push yourself to be a better person, then it doesn't matter what you're using. It's not going to come out the way that you want it to. That's just the nature of the beast. It's not the equipment that makes great art. It does help. Don't get me wrong. It does help. But the equipment itself does not create the art. The artist is. The artist is the one that creates it. The tools that they're using might give them the flexibility to create, things that they otherwise wouldn't have. But the execution of that art is ultimately created by the individual. It's not the tools that create the art, it's the artist. And the perfect example of that is look at some of the really awesome tattoos that have been coming out of different prisons around the US. There are some absolutely gorgeous tattoos being done in prison systems, and those guys don't have access to professional equipment. They got to hand poke everything. It's sad, but they're in jail. There's no getting around that. So it's not the machine that you're using. It's not the pigments that you're using, though that does have an effect. But it's yourself. It's the artist. Improve yourself and the artwork will improve. And as I mentioned earlier today, this is going to be a shorter session, just because I do have quite a few things going on today. I usually prefer this to be more of a discussion-oriented program, but however, I'm the only one on today. So, and if you guys don't have any questions, I'm going to be taking off. So I'll give you guys a couple more minutes, write down some questions that you might have, discussion topics. I'll be happy to answer them. If I don't get any questions that come in the next few minutes, we'll probably head out for the day and regroup again next Sunday. So go ahead, write some questions. Let's see where this day takes us. I'm going to finish up this little area and then probably get going if I don't get any questions. A bit more of an orangey red. I think it's going to do the trick. Oh, yeah. That's nice. Hey, Kyle, anytime, man, anytime. If you ever want to jump in here and discuss some things, by all means, let us know. I'll be more than happy to send you a DM with the link. Otherwise, I'm probably going to get going today, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Jason Leeser. You can actually find me on, there's OBS. If you guys ever have any questions, you can find me on Instagram at Philly Inc. You can see that kind of floating around right now. You'll see that over here on the right, or yeah, right here. Yep. Feel free to send me a DM at Philly Inc. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. Otherwise, take care, everyone. Hope everyone has a wonderful day today. Make sure to keep those hands busy. You know, when in doubt, paint something new. And I'll be more than happy to see you guys next Sunday. Until then, take care, cheers, and keep those hands moving.